Realized just how common falling in love with your tour guide was until I started digging into it.
Just because you meet a man that is well traveled doesn't mean that you guys are actually a personality match or that you would actually go well together.
You know absolutely nothing about him, and yet he knows so much about you. Imagining a future with this man.
Men who solo travel, because when men solo travel, they get up to nefarious activities and they are freaky ass frogs.
And Western women actually let their men off easy. And for the first time in your life, you have associated masculinity with something positive.
If women were in droves, going, seeking exclusively international, that does not give men the right to call us sluts, used up, disgusting.
Just landed in Vietnam and the air is warm, it's a little heavy, it smells like motorbike exhaust and something sweet you can't figure out. You're slightly disoriented, a little overstimulated, and very, very sweaty, but in a way that feels exciting. The next morning, you meet your tour guide. He's standing there casually, like he's the
No. I see what's happening. You guys see what's happening. You guys could have saw this already, but I will say this. What they try to do is make it seem like when they do it, it's a fantasy, it's some secret fantasy that I'm living out of a pocketbook, a romance novel. That's even how she's painting the picture.
done this 100 times before, because he probably has. You reach out to shake his hand. He flashes you a big, genuine smile. Like, why
From
does everyone have
Philippines.
perfect teeth here? He takes your bag without asking. He puts on your helmet for you. He buckles the clasps under your chin. And suddenly, you're on the back of his motorbike. Your hair's whipping in the wind. Your hands hover awkwardly for a second because you don't know where else to put it. And then he reaches back. He pulls your wrists forward. He wraps them around his waist like it's the most natural thing in the world. The wind is hitting your face. Your body is pressed against his. You're weaving through the mountains that don't even look real. Like, is this AI? He points things out to you, little villages, hidden roads, places you would have never found on your own. He slows down when you tell him you're scared, and he speeds up to pass the other motorcycles because it's the fun thing to do. He remembers how you take your coffee. He notices when you're cold and brings out a blanket. At lunch, he orders the best things on the menu for you. And at night, he makes sure you get back home safely. And for the first...
You know, and this happens a lot in places like, what place was that? DR? They call it Sankey Panky. I don't know what they call it over here in Asia. But the same thing. Same different toilet, right? And they try to paint it like they're innocent. It's sad. Take a look at this. And this lady wonders why men say the things they do or feel the way they feel. Because it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when we do it.
It's cool when they do it, problem when I do it.
You already know the rest.
People talk about this when it comes to education because they're like, the more educated a woman is, the less likely she is able to find a partner. However, I think this also holds true for travel. Firstly, men want to impress you when it comes to dating, so they're going to try to take you to a nice restaurant. They're going to try to give you a nice experience because they want to show that they are an impressive person. However, if you're someone who has snorkeled in the Galapagos and then watched a surf competition in Tahiti and then went horseback riding on the beach, and then you also have skied in the Swiss Alps, and you have also, gone to safari to watch.
And who did you go with, right? Who took you on those experiences? Who drove you through the mountains? The truth is coming out, ladies. What you doing in Tahiti? Come on now.
Watch the wildlife, migration. Like, you are very difficult to impress. On top of that, you likely have a different skill set because you can likely navigate a metro in a foreign country. You can understand people even if you don't know the language. You probably even know if danger is around, even if you don't know the language. And you have a completely and totally different perception of the world than the average person, especially someone who's never left the US. Their world is this big and their problems are this big, but they think it is this big. Whereas you know the world is this big and your problems are this big. So you live life completely and totally differently, knowing that there are other things going on in the other world and you're not the center of the universe. Just because you meet a man that is well-traveled doesn't mean that you guys are actually a personality match or that you would actually go well together, because he could very likely be just as insufferable as every other man. So overall, you just have a smaller pool of people to actually choose from that you would even be interested in the first place.
So she said, meet a man that's well-traveled. A man that's well-traveled knows you. We're like the Sherlock Holmes, da-da-da-da-da, or Inspector Gadget, da-da-da-da-da, Inspector Gadget, da-da-da-da, dum-dum. You know, he had the glass. That's us. We know it all.
Time. You
Look at that.
don't have to think. You don't have to plan. You just exist. And he takes care of everything.
That's what
And
she did in
somewhere
TV.
between the mountains and the motorbike rides and the way he says your name, you start to wonder, why does this feel better than anything I've experienced at home?
Look at this.
You spend 4 days and 3 nights with this man, your
Thank
hands
you,
around
thank you.
his waist during the day, dancing
Oh!
against his body and crying on his shoulder at night. Things happen, things you didn't plan for. You know absolutely nothing about him, and yet he knows so much about you. You start imagining a future with this man. And then
You know what this man knows? You get so lonely.
your 4 days are up, and you're left wondering, what the just happened?
You gave it up to the tour
Hey,
guide.
bestie. Welcome to the Spoiled Girly Support Group podcast, where we talk about how to get that bag while also securing your own bag. I'm your host, Elle, and let's get into it. On today's episode, we are talking about a very specific kind of love story happening right now, and it always ends at the airport. And okay, the term love as it is used here is kind of debatable, because I fear that the girlies are not falling in love on vacation. I fear that the girlies are starved for kind, competent, and caring men, that they mistake a man just doing his job as love. Now, we have a lot to cover, but before we get into it, I need you to hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell so you never miss a Spoiled Girly episode. With that being said, let's get into it. Summer is around the corner, so I've been getting travel inspo on TikTok, and I've been seeing women warn other women online about the emotional dangers of falling in love with your tour guide.
If you were ever thinking of dating one of the island boys in Siargao, don't do it.
Everyone's like,
Girl, don't do it.
and
Sure, gal. This is happening in the Philippines. I said it before. I don't know if you guys remember. I said out here in the Philippines, it goes down. The Sankey Panky is happening here. You know, when you saw the girls in those videos, that was happening in the Philippines. Sons of Filipino guys are getting married to these white girls. They're getting the bag too. Guys go, oh, it's just the Filipinos. No, the guys are getting it too.
And I didn't realize just how common falling in love with your tour guide was until I started digging into it. Specifically on TikTok, women are warning other women against being too close with their easy riders on the Ha Giang Loop or their surf instructors in Siargao. Basically, any man whose job it is to guide or help or take care of you when on vacation. We're seeing these love stories play out on TikTok. They're often framed as cute or healing or even proof that men outside of the West are more romantic. Like there's definitely some Orientalism and like exoticization happening here. And I also think that there is something much deeper than
Why are we
eat,
touching
pray,
our easy
love
riders?
going on here, because this
Man, eat, pray, love. It's not that. We have to stop this where it's sunshine and rainbows when they do it, right? We have to stop this. Because if it was all sunshine and rainbows, this wouldn't be happening.
Women who solo travel because when men solo travel, they get up to nefarious activities and they are freaky ass frogs and they be doing things actually unspeakable and that they would never feel comfortable doing in front of people. So they assume that women do those things too, but they don't realize that women kind of exist outside of the context of
They
sex,
kind of do.
intimacy, and domination. So we actually just go on solo trips and just drink on the beach or go to different museums and make friends that we see. That's all we do. So, yeah.
Who said that?
It was you. That's a damn lie. You ladies are being sanky panky too. The truth is coming out.
Women finding love on vacation. It's also about the fantasy, the privilege and economic disparity, and the appeal of a new form of masculinity kind of going on in this situation. And I wanted to talk about it. And I don't actually think that I'm hating at all. I kind of just wanted to talk about it because why is no one talking about this? Like, I keep seeing this on TikTok. It keeps coming up over and over again. And I'm like, why are we not talking about this? And I'm always on the girly side, okay? So the thing is, like, the girlies are falling in
She's always on the girly side. I bet you are. You can't betray the sisterhood. But the same thing happening to passport bros. Look what's happening. If a passport bro talks about what he did in Colombia, it's shamed upon. The girls are saying, why are we see, it's romanticized. That's why. I don't do what these other guys are doing. But it's the same thing. This is sad.
love, they're getting their hearts broken, they're making out with their tour guides, and like it doesn't end anywhere, and then like they end up getting heartbroken. And also the thing that a lot of these videos miss is that the men who are your tour guides, they may feel incentivized to romance you and build that rapport with you to
Take a
get
tip.
higher tips, despite the fact that a lot of them are married with multiple children. And obviously, some of them really do want to get with you. They really do want to get into a relationship with you. And some of them also collect tourists and add them to their growing collection of baby mothers. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. And I feel like I'm dropping you in the middle of like random drama you didn't ask for, but this is a real phenomenon and like we all need to start talking about it because why? Why is it such a common phenomenon that the girlies are falling in love with their tour guides? So today's episode isn't meant to shame the women who do end up falling for their tour guides, but rather explore the why behind it. Like why? Why are we falling for our tour guides? And also, I think I have some unique insight into this because I did spend a lot of time in Southeast Asia growing up where a lot of these stories happen, and I also visit quite often. So I'm going to give you the inside scoop. Okay. And I really felt a certain type of way watching these videos of women saying that they fell in love with their tour guides and how it's really a canon event for every woman going to these places to at least form a little romantic connection with their tour guide. And the women local to these places are telling these women, warning them that like, yo, listen, you are falling for our local F-boy. And I also feel like the tourists, they're kind of done with the F-boys in their own home countries, in their hometowns, and then they go out and they feel like F-boys don't come in other different fonts, and then they fall for them. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, like so much so that we are able to make this episode because there's so much to unpack here. And I do want to touch on this, the exoticization of it all. So the women who are exoticizing these men are still the very same people who are hurt by the exoticization. Walk with me. So these tourist women, they idealize these men as upstanding and amazing because they're not like other men at home. But at the end of the day, they are still men operating under patriarchy in a different font. And like I said, I'm not trying to be a hater, but if you are planning a vacation outside of the country soon, you're gonna need to watch this because at least you can go in eyes wide and maybe save yourself the heartache. And if this has ever happened to you, you've had a fling or you felt a little romantic connection with your tour guide, or it turned into something more than that, feel free to share in the comments. Anyway, why are the girlies falling in love on vacation? Well, it's all about the fantasy. What makes these tour guides so appealing isn't just that they're attractive. They tend to be attractive because they live these active lifestyles, but it is also that for a brief moment that you're with them, they seem to embody a script of masculinity that many of these women from all these different places have felt are becoming increasingly rare. So these tour guides, they're attentive and protective, and they're fully present in the moment. They mother you instead of the other way around. They make the plans and carry out those plans. They're very chalant and they're always fully engaged in the moment. And that seems like a fantasy, right? Like in the West, like in the US, that seems like a fantasy.
You know what's so weird, right? They're getting with the guys that Filipinas are scared of. That's the guys that are getting these ladies, sending them home with children a lot of times, getting money from them. These are the ones the Filipinas say, I don't want to deal with. And also, these guys are broke as well, right? So that's why, and you notice that here in the Philippines, they always say, oh, rich here is 150,000, which is like $2,000, or I'm fine with a guy that makes 60,000 a month, which is not a lot of money. Why is that? And no shame to the guys that live here, but not everybody. There's guys here that make that, but not everybody makes that here. But these ladies are getting with the bottom of the bottom. My wife was scared to deal with a guy like that. I'm going to show you how these guys are next.
For a lot of women. But it's a reality when you go on these tours with these tour guides. And there's also something undeniably attractive and sexy about competence. And I know that it's so sad that being an actual functioning adult is what turns women on, but that is just the state of dating nowadays. Like, women are increasingly finding it difficult to find competent men to date. So in a culture where so many women feel like they have to overfunction in relationships, plan everything, organize everything, communicate everything, there is a sense of relief that you find when you see a man doing the very same things that you yourself are capable of. And like I said, it's kind of sad that a lot of women are seeing that a lot of women are experiencing that. Like, that is so sad. Like, why are we in a famine of competent men, equally competent men? And so these tour guides, they fulfill this fantasy that women have.
I gotta say this, right? Because I understand what it is the thrill. It's the thrill. The same thing when you ladies are back home, you want the guy that gives you the thrill. And then what happens is when you're back home, a lot of times you hold men to a higher standard. So you want the guy with the money, right? Now, what's going on is a lot of men, they don't want to be bothered, right? So they're going over there, they're having these vacations. The men here don't want to waste money, right? The men in the West. So they're over there. And of course, these men know everything. They're tour guides. That's the guy that drives you around on a motorcycle. He does everything for you. And what happens? They end up taking care of everything because that guy, he can't provide the dollars. Look at this.
Flying now.
Time?
First time
Ever? 36 years and the first time you're flying now? Where are we going?
Bangtan Airport?
No, like...
To Siargao?
Yeah, from Cebu to Siargao. We did a trip of 1 week and now we're going back to Siargao. We're there. Are you nervous?
So put it here?
Feel?
So nervous.
We made it inside now. And
Bawal lagi na.
ready?
Yeah.
Almost boarding the plane.
Excited.
Ready when you're boarding. Go to the airplane. Plane?
Yeah,
And it's really small airplane.
Man, she's happy to give that man a whirl. I can't hate on it, but this is all I have to say. I'll let this man say it for.
Predators just as much as men. Listen, when I was 18 years old, I just started out in insurance. And at the time, we were still doing face-to-face sales. You're door knocking. And so I was door knocking in East Tampa. And I knock on the door. Older woman comes to the door. Obviously, she's turning 65. We're trying to, sell them Medicare plans here. And she opens the door and she says, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" I said, "Hi, my name is such and such. I'm just calling. I'm, knocking on your door because you're turning 65. Just wanted to know if you need any help with your Medicare." And she said, "Yeah, sure, but sure. You can, come by, sometime this week, this time. Cool." Now, I'm brand new. I don't know anything about anything. So basically we would set appointments and then, some supervisor would come out with us to actually sell the plan. So I'm like, cool. I set the appointment with her for, Thursday at this time. Cool. Now, the dude that came out with me, he was like a short Latino dude. I don't know where he was from exactly, but he was a short Latino guy. And we go there, appointment at the time. I go and I knock on the door because he's like, "Hey, you set the appointment, so you knock on the door." I knock on the door. Tell me why this woman opens the door and a silk robe is fully open. I'm like, "Excuse me, ma'am, what are you?" And she's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were bringing somebody with you." What do you mean? I saw you one time to talk to you about your Medicare. What do you mean you didn't know I was bringing somebody with me? So you show up to the door in a silk robe with it fully open.
She wanted to get that itch scratch.
To spend time with a competent man. Yeah, and I know, like I said, for the third time, it's pretty sad that is the baseline level of the fantasy. Imagine a man in this day and age who knows how to plan and carry out a trip and pay attention to your every need every second you are in his presence, and someone who is a real life person and isn't just a book talk boyfriend. Okay, and we've already talked about this, like the romance industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry for a reason. Like women are yearning for competent, caring, kind, and attentive men, even if they have to pay for it. And if you've never in your life ever received princess treatment, this experience is even more eye-opening, like even more intoxicating. It's like you died and went to heaven. Dating in the US is shaped by hyper-individualism. Like the vibe is extraction. And so many women have been done dirty by American men. Everyone is trying so hard to be detached, to be nonchalant, avoiding being seen as trying or caring too much. Literally, no one wants to be a servant to each other. So when these women who have experienced this version of dating in the US, when these women go abroad and they find a man who seems genuine, direct, competent, and also warm and generous with his time and his attention, it can feel like you just stumbled into an alternate universe. And for the first time in your life, you have associated masculinity with something positive. Like, who wouldn't fall in love with that? But alas, it's only a fantasy, a female fantasy. Let's get back to reality for a little bit. What makes this phenomenon so interesting is that it feels like a gender-flipped version of something we have already seen before against our wills. Like, I don't know why this concept of men going outside of the US to find partners is so pervasive. Like, against our wills, we are subjected to this media, i.e. the PB&J bros. So traditionally, when men travel abroad in search of a partner or love, there's usually a very clear ideology attached to that. They complain about Western women. They say women back home are too independent, too educated, as if that is even possible, too feminist, too difficult, too masculine, too entitled, too whatever. Okay, so like they complain about women in the West. And then they go overseas. They are looking for what they imagine are better women, more traditional, more nurturing, more submissive, and more appreciative. But the thing is, that isn't true. Okay, like it's so funny because like you're looking for a more traditional woman. A more traditional woman would automatically be more entitled because traditionally men provide for women. So if you're looking for a traditional woman would expect you to provide. So,
You know, and that's where you feel at, right? Because this is why men are leaving. Because it's nothing to provide when things are cheaper. You understand? It's nothing for a man to take care of everything. Now, I understand you ladies are taking care of everything, but what are you doing? To receive feminine, you're stepping in your masculine. And this is exactly why guys don't want to date girls that are well traveled. Not only that they can't give you anything new, women and men are just alike. Stop it with the, oh, you know, we want this fantasy. Yes. You all want to live that Christian Grey moment. You think about that all the time. You're all walking around like little girls, little grown women, wanting that Christian Grey fantasy of the tour guide. You feel like you're in a romantic setting. You're in a romantic place. A place you should be going with your man. But I hear what you ladies are saying, but not good enough. It's not.
so I would say actually, like having seen dating in both the East and the West, I would say Eastern women are actually even more entitled because they have to be. And Western women actually let their men off easy with not expecting much from them to their detriment. Okay, so it's just like the contradictions are just contradictioning, you know, like you want a more traditional woman, but like you don't want her entitled. Like that's the very definition of a traditional woman. A traditional woman knows her tradition. She knows what she is due if you are going to be in
All
her
right,
presence.
I'm going to stop it right here, right? Because what she's forgetting is what men mean by traditional. We understand that, right? All men understand that. But what we want is everything else that comes with it. And I'm not saying I don't know who you are, right? But men want females that are feminine, delicate, sweet, giving, kind. Men miss that. That's why men are traveling over. Do some men engage in some creepy things? Yes. Do females engage in some creepy things? Yes. As we all can see. And I see other people reacting to it. And I like that. I saw Abba and Preach react to this. And I like what Preach said. I mean, Abba. He said, you know, the females, a lot of times, they just point fingers at the men and make it like they can do no wrong. And what saddens me is I saw O'Shea Duke Jackson's video, and guys are being kicked out of Columbia, right? But these ladies are talking about what they're doing on the internet, on TikTok, just like Don P was doing. They're not being stopped. I guess that's, you know, what happened is with the Passport Bros, you know, they were put in such a bad light because everything was highlighted that everything that happens with females goes under the radar. It's sad, and things will never change. It'll always be this way. And take a look at how ashamed they are to say that they're traveling.
here that other like women travel creators will occasionally do, and I don't think it's intentionally malicious, but sometimes there's like a lot of men out there that will say women are sluts for traveling, women are pouring around when they travel, like, oh, everybody knows they're just like ran through around the world, blah blah blah, used up, disgusting, body count 193, you know, whatever. And they'll make videos like, it's sort of in defense, like being like, oh, well, I've never dated abroad, like, oh, women travel for ourselves, whatever. Even if we didn't, even if there are women out there who travel exclusively to date, I'm in the camp where it's like, I travel to go experience cultures and see the world, and sometimes dating is part of that, right? Even if women were in droves going seeking dick exclusively, international cock, that does not give men the right to call us sluts, used up, disgusting, like worthless women, like people. Like, that's, so I don't know, that's something that kind of irritates me, because it very much comes across as like, oh, I'm not like other girls, like I would never do something like that. Actually, you should be defending the women that do that from these disgusting misogynistic freaks.
It's too loud. See, what these females want is, and that's why the things men say make sense, right? Like when men say things like, we have an Audi, you have an Indy, right? And it's harder. And this is true. It's harder for men to get more females, right? So if a man gets more females, it's congratulated. We all can agree, right? I'm sure you can agree. So when females are doing what they do, it's frowned upon. Why? Because it's easier. It's so hard for men to do what we do. But for you females, it's easier. Thank y'all for watching. Peace out. See you next video.
It's cool when they do it, problem when I do it.